Welcome to this sequence of videos on how to fit exercise and activity into a busy routine. What we're going to be looking at is how you can think about the activity that you'd like to fit into your regular routine. We're going to have a little look at what your ideal exercise fitness plan would look like. Get under the skin of some of those headlines a little bit with some coaching ideas and techniques and skills that will help you transfer between what you'd like to achieve into actually making it happen. And then some ways and means to get quick action, quick results, lasting results and success, and then also look at some ways you can measure what's happening so that you can celebrate your successes, but also think about how you can keep this stuff in place short, medium, and long term. So important, we always think, for everyone to have a tailored and individual routine. So that means asking yourself and answering the question, what does fitness mean to you? It means very different things to different people. I think fitness might just mean fit for purpose, going about your regular routine. Fitness might mean running a marathon, swimming the channel, doing an Ironman triathlon. It's entirely personal. There is no right, there is no wrong, and it's different for every individual at different times. So start by thinking about the details of what being fit means for you, for your current routine, and maybe also where that might lead in the future. You can also then start asking yourself what your ideal fitness and activity routine looks like, what does it feel like, and what does it sound like. And I think once you start considering using the senses, you start becoming a little bit excited about what's possible. Your fitness routine might be a couple of workouts in a week and a long walk at the weekend. So that's the structure. But then you also think, the long walks, what does that look and feel like? Well, that looks like fresh air, countryside, open spaces, de-stressing, calming, the sounds of the countryside, the bird song, whatever environment you're thinking about moving yourself into, just tap into all possible resources to go through the detail. The more clearly you can think about what's actually going to happen, the easier it is to bring this into existence. So a little more detail than maybe some people are accustomed to with thinking about how personally does fitness look, what does it look like for me, what does it mean for me, and using the senses to tap in to all the different elements of what will be going on when it's up and running. Also good at this point to think about possible barriers, what might get in the way. So not to say that these things aren't navigable around, but we have to be aware of them and we have to take them into account, and we have to think about what would we do to move them out of the way. So what stops you might be you don't have time, or that's the perception. You don't have access to facilities. You don't have a support network at home or in the office that's going to help you to put your fitness routine in place. Let's have a think about what those things are specifically, and that will help you to begin thinking almost immediately what you'd like to do to work around those potential barriers. For us, we're working in the field of sleep and healthy eating, resilient stress management and activity, but the key thing to making this happen, to getting your fitness routine in place, short, medium and long term, is giving yourself a little bit of time and space as you watch through these videos, to think about what's relevant for you, to be strategic, to make a proactive sketch of what is going to happen, and then you can put it into practice. This may not take, it does take a little bit of time, but it may not take that much time, but it makes all the difference as to how effective you're going to be able to execute the plan moving forwards. When you give yourself time and space to think about fitness specifically, there are a few things to consider. Firstly, you want this to work in the long term. This is not a get fit for the beach or a New Year's resolution plan. Most people would like their exercise, their activity schedule to stay with them for many, many years. So here are the elements that are worth thinking about. Your fitness routine will have some sort of cardio element to it. Walking, running, swimming, cycling, rowing, whatever it is that you enjoy, but something that works the heart and lungs. Now, as with every element of this, it may be different at different times of life, but some element working the heart and lungs is going to be important. Complemented then by some strength training, some resistance training, some weights, some resistance bands, water bottles, anything. You can use body weight as well, but some kind of strength training to complement the cardio training. Sometimes people not so familiar with some of the strength training routines, that's easily fixed. There are many other resources on our website that shows you some quick strength training exercises. The key, I think, is just to get started. If you are really not sure, seek some advice. Ask someone how to help you with the correct posture, position, technique. Once you're familiar with a few exercises, then there are so many variations that you can keep your routine regular, interesting, fun. Adding the strength to the cardio gives you the opportunity to put some circuit training sessions together, so you can then use the strength training, move between the exercises quite quickly, or for example, strength training, then some running, strength training skipping, strength training stationary bike, or even use this outside in the park. Create some circuits that will keep the heart and lungs working whilst attending to the strength training side of your routine. So within your circuit training, I think some element of flexibility is good. You may have this as part of your workout. You may do 5-10 minute stretching as part of each workout that you do, or you can make your flexibility training part of your routine. So it's functional. Through the day, you take a few breaks every hour and a half or a couple of hours, take a breath, step aside, do a couple of stretches. Before you know it, with that pattern, through a day or a couple of days or across a week, you've fitted in quite a bit of flexibility training, which stands you in good stead both as your kind of day-to-day working routine goes, but also the more flexible you are, the less likely you are to experience any tightness or any tension as you go through your regular day. But also, good flexibility means that you will probably adopt better position for the exercises or the sports that you're taking part in, which will make your fitness more efficient and your activities more effective. So cardio, strength and flexibility, always complemented by some element of core training. Again, you may have part of a core workout each time you exercise, or you can put core workouts into place all through every day. And simply by that we mean sitting, standing and moving in a good upright position from dawn till dusk is excellent core training. And once you practice it and get into the habit of doing it, it becomes your default position. You're strengthening up the midsection of your body, shoulders go back and down, opens the chest, you can breathe much more easily, but you feel better as well. So some elements of these can be functional, some can be put into certain training programs. The exercises that you do where you're moving forwards, running, cycling, rowing, often that's quite one-dimensional. So we suggest that we have some dynamic movement. You will achieve that with the circuits, but also if you're interested in any particular activities or sports or anything team related, make sure that there's some elements of training for those events in your routine, because that then gives it some kind of structure, some kind of impetus, some kind of reason to do all these things. If I spend my time and effort training for these activities, I'm going to be better when I perform for myself or with other people. It tends to make it a little bit more exciting to kind of get up and get out and do these sessions if it's leading towards something that's part and parcel of your overall desired achievements. Having all these elements together is brilliant for injury prevention. If you have this balanced routine, short, medium and long term, you're much less likely to become injured. The other thing I think that's important about injury is if it does happen, immediately seek some advice. Most injuries can be rehabbed. If you take the advice and you have a rehab program, put it into practice. I think many people don't find their rehab, if they have an injury, to be that exciting. They'd rather be doing the thing that they enjoy. However, it's mostly a short-term means to a much longer-term end. It's worth making the time and effort to do the rehab, maybe something low level every day or two, but very quickly you get back on track and back to the things that you love. I would say if you can, avoid at all costs having something you like, becoming injured, and then using that injury as a reason to never go back to the thing, because it does become frustrating after a while. And the more distance and time you put between you and doing the things that you enjoy, the tougher it seems to go back to it. So rehab plans implemented sooner rather than later will get you back up and running or doing whatever sport or activity it is that you love. Final part of this jigsaw is, if you get all of these pieces in place, split regularly across weeks, months, you can then enjoy and relax during the time off. I think one of the things about fitness and exercise and activity is that people always think they should be doing more. I should have done it yesterday, I should do it today, tomorrow. It becomes quite a pressure. Whereas if you just take the time to step back, address these component parts, put them in place, and then execute the plan, you can forget about it for the rest of the day or the next couple of days, rest and recover, and come back fresh, knowing when you're going to do your next workout. So these are the component parts. There should, within all of those parts, be some kind of daily and weekly regular contribution towards your specific health and fitness objectives. And then just check in with yourself every month, every quarter, maybe even 6 months, and say, is my plan where I would like it to be? Is it achieving what I would like to achieve? If yes, continue. And if no, where can I just adjust? And again, this is not reinventing, just general adjustments as you go through will make the biggest difference. The final part is, there's often an ebb and a flow through the year, spring and summer. People feel more focused on the activities, there may be more opportunities, and maybe we're not so good in the autumn and the winter. If you have options for spring and summer, it's worth giving some thought through that period to what your autumn winter it might not be the same thing, but what would your autumn winter version of your exercise plan look, feel and sound like, and then transition from one to the other. So you come through in spring just transitioning off one plan into the summer spring plan and not feeling like you have to start again. So it's an evolution, but there's always something. You're feeling proactive and you experience the benefits 12 months round.